Hello, everyone. There's another Black conservative. I am Ryan Bolin. Thank you all for joining me. So, Florida Governor Ron Desantis has signed a bill into law that would penalize any corporation or establishment that would allow minors to be exposed to drag queens. In fact, the drag queen event that was supposed to take place in Florida has been canceled due to that law being signed. Now, what I'm going to say here before I even get into this article is hurrah, hurrah, hurrah for Governor Ron DeSantis for taking a stand on what he believes is the right thing to do. So let's get right into this article. And I'm going to give you my commentary afterwards. It says the Tampa Pride on the River event has been canceled due to the series of anti-grooming bills passed by the Florida legislator and signed into law by Governor Ron DeSantis, which in part imposes penalties on establishments that expose children to sexually explicit drag shows and similar adult performances. DeSantis recently signed a series of anti-groomer legislation designed to protect children from the radical left's woke gender agenda, which includes pushing transgender ideology and gender confusion on minors. Yes, it does. One of the pieces of legislation signed is titled the Protection of Children, or HB 1438, which imposes fines on establishments that allow children to attend sexually explicit adult shows such as drag shows. You know, it's crazy, you know. We're going to hold you accountable. When you have adult entertainment, you have these sexually explicit performances, there should not be any of these kids there. Absolutely. Common sense, right? You would think common sense, but not for the woke. And this is going to make sure that that's the case, DeSantis said ahead of signing the bill into law. As a result, Tampa Pride President Kerry West recently told outlets that their festival has been canceled, apologizing for the series of events that led to the decision. Of course, there's going to be a lot of money involved. I would assume somehow it's going to be money involved in it, so they're bothered by that. And it goes on to say, as there would be drag queens performing at the public event, which children would be easily exposed to, as last year's events occurred along the River Walk. As a result, participating businesses could face penalties. And then the article goes on to say, shows pictures of these individuals, RuPaul and others. And then the person says, she says, very sad, she said, describing it as, quote, a fun event. And then it says the legislation itself authorizes the Division of Hotels and Restaurants of the Department of Business and Professional Regulation to, quote, fine, suspend, or revoke the license of any public lodging establishment or public food service establishment if the establishment admits a child to an adult live performance per the bill's text. And that's all I'm going to read right there. You can go to the description box and read the rest of that article if you want to. But notice what it says. It says it will penalize, revoke the license of any public lodging establishment or public food service if the establishment admits a child to an adult live performance. So what it's saying here is not saying that they can't have these adult live performances. It's not saying that. It's not barring you from doing that. What they're saying is you can't have children there. Now, there's been this big argument and fussing and saying that DeSantis is being tyrannical and all this other kind of stuff about the bills that he's signing into law. But I don't think so. I don't think at all he's being tyrannical. Here's what I said in one of my 1-minute videos. But I'm going to elaborate and explain here. As a parent, who has children, you have the right to do whatever you want to do with your children. Okay, you have the right to, if you want to send them, if you want to take them to drag queen events, that's your right. That's your child. It's sick, in my opinion, but that's your child. You have a right to do that. That's your choice. Your child came out of your loins. You have a right to do what you want to do with your children. But as a lawmaker, being in the position that DeSantis is in, as a lawmaker who believes in certain morals and values and standards, what he's saying is that I'm not going to create laws or promote laws or push laws or encourage laws that make it easy for parents in any one of these establishments, okay, that make it easy for them to do something that I believe is immoral. Well, that's what he's saying right there. Just like these crazy people, and I'm saying it and I'm not taking it back, that believe it's okay to expose their children to this kind of stuff. Ron DeSantis and the other lawmakers are saying it's not okay. And just like you guys want to sign laws saying that it's okay for biological males who think that they're females to go into female restrooms, and there's been stories of these biological males claiming to be females going to the restrooms, putting their hands on women and all this kind of stuff. Just like you guys make their laws, we want to make laws that discourage that kind of activity. What's the problem? I'll tell you what the problem is. The problem is a lack of morality. We've lost most people in this. Well, I won't say most. I will say a significant number of people in this country have lost sight of what's right or wrong, have lost sight of what's pure, and have lost sight of what's innocent. The children are innocent. You are a sick piece of I don't know what, okay, to take your children or to expose your children to this kind of stuff. It seems clear to me and most people in this country that have any sense of morality that you are trying to corrupt the children or at least confuse them. Why are you bothering the children? Why don't you just expose it to adults? That's what you was doing before. Why are you doing this with children? And you can't try to make that make sense to me. Please try to make it make sense to me. You can't. There is no sense to it other than the fact that you're trying to confuse these children with sexually explicit nonsense. And Ron DeSantis and the lawmakers and his administration saying, no, the HELL with that, you're not going to do that. You're not going to corrupt our children. And now you got people now that's pooting and farting and crying. I was reading the heading of one particular article that was talking about some leftist woke nonsense, talking about black people shouldn't go to Florida because Florida is anti-black. A lot of dumb stuff. A lot of dumb, ignorant stuff, which is totally not true. And I might do a video on that in my following video. So look out for that, because I got something to say about that. But that's a whole bunch of bull crap, whole bunch of nonsense. Okay. Ron DeSantis is not a dummy, and so are the lawmakers there. They're not dummies. And they're not trying to prevent adults from doing adult things. You can do whatever you want to do. Okay. If you're an adult and a consenting adult, you can go to these shows. You can have these pride, whatever. But when you start putting children into these things and bringing children to these events, Ron DeSantis and the lawmakers there look at that as abuse. And that's why they're signing these laws, signing these bills into law to prevent and penalize establishments and individuals that allow their children to be exposed to this kind of nonsense. That's all that is. But it shows me just how the radical left really is all about. The way I see that, it shows you just how nasty and demented that they really are. Because anytime you fighting and you breaking your neck and having a fit over this idea that you can't have kids, you can't expose yourself to these to young kids, and you having a fit over this, something's wrong with you, not the other people. Something's wrong with you. You're the one with the problem. That shows me and most Americans that got a freaking brain and have any sense of morality that the problem is with you. And we're not going to back down. We're going to continue to speak out on this. We're going to continue to expose this nonsense. Do what you want to do as an adult. Leave the kids out of it. That's basically what they're saying. Okay. And I commend Ron DeSantis and his administration for this. Yeah, they canceled it. And it seems like that he's the only, they canceled the parade rather. And it seems like to me that Ron DeSantis is one of the few governors that are actually standing against this kind of craziness, you know. It's hard for me to believe on a purely natural level, although I know there's a spiritual component to it and I know the bigger picture. I'm just speaking from a natural perspective, to believe that people would support something like this, that would support children being exposed to drag queens. You can't say, well, we're trying to educate the children. Really? Educate the children in what? How to dress as drag? What are you trying to educate them to? Is their argument, well, we want them to be more tolerable? You don't have to expose these kids to that kind of stuff to make them more tolerable. You just tell them, well, you know, this is what these men and women like to do. They like to dress and drag. You know, you don't have to expose them to it. You tell them what it is and what these men like doing, and you leave it at that. And you say, well, you know what? It's their choice. You know, it's their choice. You know, you can't mess. It's their choice. And that's it. You leave them alone. But you don't take them to the events. You don't have establishments that say, bring the kids on in. First of all, the children are not even paying for it. Think about it. It's the adults that's paying for it. The children are minors, so they're not paying anything for the most part. What are they paying for? So that shows you that it's not a money thing when it comes to the children. So if the children are not paying for it, and the establishment is saying bring them on in anyway, then that shows you that something sick and nefarious and demonic on a bigger scale that establishment is connected to. And if they don't get it right, there's a place in the lake of fire for them. And I said it, and I ain't taking it back. If you don't get it right, there's a place in the lake of fire for you. And just because, well, I don't believe in the lake of fire, and I'm like, okay, maybe so. I do. And the only way you find out is when you die, because we all going to die. That's the great equalizer. We're all going to die. And whether you believe in the lake of fire or the judgment day or not, won't even matter, because we're going to all be dead. By that time, it'd be too late. You can't say, oh, man, that crazy guy, Mr. Bowling, was right. Look, well, it's too late now, homie. Just saying. I commend Ron DeSantis for this. I commend his administration for this. And I hope and pray that just about all of the states in our country will follow suit and do the same thing. Protect our children. That's the number one thing. Just protect our children. The rest of you can do whatever you want to do. You're a freaking adult, for crying out loud. But the children, leave them out of it. So that's what I had said. And what do you guys think? Leave your comments in the comment section below. Like, share, and subscribe to my channel. God bless you all, and see you again.